Well, it has taken me 2.5 days to actually get back to the point of where I said I would take you out and show you what the old stock chopper can do. So here we have a cornfield combine without a chopping corn head. Very easy to see that it is not a chopping corn head. And here is where I have gone and made a few passes with the stock shredder, stock chopper, high-speed 220 John Deere stock chopper. Let's just say conditions have been better. I just can't believe how this fall has turned into what it is. Not to mention the surprises, the bountiful yielding surprises out here hiding in the stalks. See these here little pock marks? Yeah, well, that's what happens. By the time you hear it, boom, to boom, and so on, as the rock comes shooting back out of the chopper, kicking these forward as the rocks shoot ahead. Well, let's just say you go a good 20 feet before you're able to raise it, stop, back up, whatever you got to do. So it's really not evening work type of thing out here, but we've been having so many different horrible issues with breakdowns. I just can't believe that the equipment, it seems to be designed to perform flawlessly for a certain amount of hours, and every time we get down to the last few days of harvest, it is like, well, you're questioning your life choices, and you could almost say you're questioning life itself. Just gotta breathe deep and kind of like water off a duck's back, you know, which is not very easily done as you're being pushed by, what is the words? Anger, anxiety, frustration, little lack of sleep. That never helps. That's definitely not a help. Now, I guess
qualified candidates.
Well, hello.
So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter.
Why won't you shut up?
In the haystack.
There we go. You know, right down to that. I almost wanted to rip that right out of the cap just now, but I didn't. Okay, we're gonna take off here before the sun sets, and you can't see what I'm doing. Okay, it's quite simple. Yeah, I had to look around on the highway to make sure nobody was driving by, being able to witness me talking to the coontail. So, we're gonna start this up. Push down and start it. We might have too many horsepower on here because I have broke one belt on the outside that drives one half of the chopper. Hit a pile of dirt, and usually it pulls down the RPMs of the tractor on other tractors that I've ran on this thing, and no big deal. But this girl here, she just said, that's nothing, we're just gonna keep on going. And but Mr. Belt said, oh no, no, we're giving up, we're gonna fly apart. And it became a nice looking long rope instead of a circular belt style looking piece of rubber. So okay, we are going to now increase our ground speed and our RPMs. (2,000 RPM is about 1,000 RPM on the chopper, and that is 1,000. That is what the chopper runs at, is 1,000 RPM. Here we go. And yeah, it's wet. It's wet. Every once in a while, when she really gets muddy and soft, I gotta raise it up. I just raised it up a little bit, keep it from pounding around down in the mud. And then, of course, you have to remember to lower it, which I just did, while trying to look forward for all these hidden little booby traps. And why are we doing this? Well, thank you for asking. We are doing this because, as normal, somebody is chasing me, they're pushing me. Yeah, it's the custom liquid manure applicator. We are going to put some liquid hog manure out here to get the soil do what we want it to do. And nothing beats good old livestock waste to do that job. I just am, I don't know. I just feel so sorry for the landlord that lives up here that has to smell this now for 2 weeks. Where they're gonna inject it. They got, I believe they've got coulters on the back of their machine that they cover it up, or I shouldn't say that. I don't know if it's a spike tooth or a coulter. I should go over and look at it, but of course I'm too busy or just have not taken the time to do that. I should do that, but I know I won't do it, so it is what it is. This is definitely not a high-speed machine, unlike the verbiage on the PC equipment, high-speed 220. Well, I am pushing it. I see I'm 5.6 miles an hour. The slower you go, the better it does. There's different types of knives. You can get like a cup blade. We tried one of them years ago that creates a real nice suction. And in the drier years, you just would not believe the dust you can produce with the suction type. And I just don't recall the name of that that blade or knife, but it done what it was supposed to do, which then you had a better, maybe a little better job if you did drive over your corn stalks. That would suck it up. Unlike these are just a straight knife, as you guys, if you watched a few videos ago, seen that they're just straight. They just more or less chop whatever they touch or reach. They have not much suction. And obviously, if you drive on the corn stalk row with the tractor or the combine or the grain cart, then your chopper is not going to perform very well at all. So I remember all these things from Dad telling me, don't drive on the road. Go to the end of the field with the grain cart or whatever you were driving. Don't cut across the field kitty corner. Stay off of the corn stalk row, because it would plug up the plows and all the pieces of equipment that we used to have for tillage. It would just be nothing but 6-foot long corn stalks that wrap around whatever you're pulling for a piece of equipment. That is why we chop, or used to chop, and still do have the chopping row corn heads, is merely for easeability of this. And we're chopping it because of the manure guy. He cannot apply in the standing corn stalks, so we got to do something. We were going to use the halo on it, but it is so muddy out here. No vertical tillage is going to work yet until it dries up. If you were wondering why we don't use that, that is the reason. It's just too muddy. So we're hoping that chopping it, and I was hoping to do this 2 days ago so that we could get maybe a little more drying action, but then the argument is, are you going to dry the ground out sooner with the corn stalk standing? I can go with that, because right now we're making a big blanket. That's all fluff and even, and now the sun ain't gonna get down to it. But I'm rudding it up enough now, sink it down, and And this trash will kind of settle down in a day or two. So I'm hoping, well, it's got to be done. I got to do it. I got to have no more time to waste. We're doing what we're doing, right or wrong. The other issue is, I believe the previous farmer had a 6-row cornhead, and that chopper is a 8-row, takes 8 rows, so I am not matching up very well. The old trick was to always chop in the opposite direction you combine. You always wanted to drive into the stock as the stocks you see. Now he was combining heading west because the stocks are pulled west, so I'm supposed to head back that way. Well, that don't match up, so I'm not doing the best job on some of these rows because of that problem. And but that's the way it is. It's the way it's gonna be. And oh yeah, you guys should have been around. What year would it have been? Well, all through the late 90s and the 2000s. You ask what that is? You don't know what that is? Why would that be there? Pull yourself out when you're stuck? No. That's where we actually pulled a disc behind there. And the old 4640, well, let's just say she had all she wanted, and then more. And then you got to blow the radiator out about every 2 hours or so if the wind was wrong. It was bad. I was gonna say how smart a person is, because the hours of frustration, you don't know what you absolutely have no idea how hard it is to keep a chopper and a disc going without breaking down once, if not a few times a day. You gotta experience it to believe it, and we did it for many years. We loved the way it worked, because then our rippers would rip the field after that, and boy, it got nice and black. But let's just say the poor guy that was doing the chopping job here, which was Dad, you didn't want to have to really talk to him too much by the end of the day, because he was sick of it. And I think my mom's dad had a few hours in it too, and he even said to us once, why don't we just unhook that disc? I know he was pretty upset, because he was a pretty easygoing guy, but that day, I think he'd rather taken the disc to the junkyard and said, see you later. Okay, I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see me or not, or any of this, but there's what it looks like after you're done with a field, and after the mud is done sticking to everything. Usually wears out the sidewall of the tire. Gotta stop and back up every once in a while so that doesn't keep on building up and causing issues. But yeah, well, back of the tractor, it isn't too bad. We always used to throw an old carpet rag or an old piece of carpet up and over there, cut 2 big holes in it where the 3-point hitch arms always stuck through to keep it on there. That way the cleanup was a lot easier, but this isn't too bad. Yeah, I know, I'll be careful. Well, just like that, it's all cleaned up. I'm gonna take my pickup home, leave this thing sit here, and let the mud dry off. I'll come down with some sort of I'm gonna have to dig them tracks out, because take a look at it. I can't take that down the highway. They're gonna heat up, and why don't you wait till it dries up? Well, it's got forecast 20s for low and 34 for a high. don't think it's going to stay that cold for more than a couple days, but it's coming, and I'm going.